We are live. Our Bleepin City episode 4 on a special Thursday edition because my co-host here is a wanted woman and she's got a lot of plans. So we pushed the show a day to today, Thursday. We got a lot. We got a lot to unpack.
Always.
I mean, there's two kind of major news stories.
Absolutely.
In our world.
More than two, but yeah, there's.
But the two that just recently happened.
Mm-hmm. Where do you want to start?
So,
I think there's only one place to start.
Take it away, because I'm having a hard time deciding.
Okay. So I don't know if you did this on purpose or not.
Yeah.
But I had when I saw what you wore for the show today.
I did. It was calculated.
It was calculated. Okay. So what's significant about Edelman and why you chose this jersey today?
See, you just gave it away. I was gonna play it off like it was a Drew jersey.
Yeah, but Drew doesn't have a white jersey that.
I know. No,
I knew you were also trying to do that. I'm actually very aware.
No. So, obviously, I don't have my Drew jersey from the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I still did, but
is that a fire casualty?
I think so. Yeah,
oh,
I did lose on the fire.
Yeah.
But so this week was a special week for a lot of reasons in Patriot Nation.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously the first thing, the legend, the best special teams player, in Bill Belichick's words of all time.
Absolutely.
Retired.
And we knew it was coming, but that did not make it easier. It was the real official end of the dynasty, of my childhood, of all of it. It was really I knew, I was at the last game of the season and, and there were two driving factors that got me to go in that crappy weather and the freezing cold.
That's right. You were at his last game.
Yeah. So. And the two things were the fact that my roommate has never been to an NFL game before and really wanted to go. And the tickets were ridiculously dirt cheap. So how could we not? But also, I know. But also I wanted to see Slate. And so, and I think you and I had talked about this previously, but when we went to what ultimately became Tom Brady's last game for the Patriots, you remember Ben Watson at the end of the game?
Of course I do.
What do you remember about that?
I remember the emotion. I remember the emotion. He came. It wasn't like Brady, where Brady probably knew he was gone, but he couldn't show it publicly yet.
Right.
Ben Watson knew he was done.
Yep.
And he was the only player that came back out on the field after the game. Yep. And he had that moment of just soaking everything in. Yep. It was like
you could see him just looking around, and you and I turned.
I mean, these guys put in 15 years of blood, sweat, and tears.
Right.
Football is the most physically grueling sport
for sure.
of the four major ones.
Yeah.
And you could just see it.
Yeah. Well, and he
came back home. He came back to the place he started, where he had success. So it was
right. And
it was emotional. Before I do that, I want to acknowledge, because the people are what make this show go, and the people are what make me want to do this. So first into the chat room, my man, the self-made Flowmaster, Drewski.
I'm actually so glad that Drewski's here, because I've got a few questions for him.
Well,
but we got to come back to those.
And I need to are you going to be okay?
Yes.
Mike, you guys might have to do this show solo.
Don't draw attention to the
stuff. Doesn't make. Well, how about I not draw attention?
No, but I'm saying
but no. Let me properly acknowledge my people. We're going to get to Jazz in a second. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, you missed his show last night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Drewski, and I wish I had known this before I put out the Bledsoe piece.
Oh.
Drewski, just out of nowhere, because I joined in the chat, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my YouTube ones. He just put out the Bledsoe piece."
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, he just busts out this just this dope ass freestyle with Drew Bledsoe.
No.
With Drew
Wait.
a verse with Bledsoe.
What?
So
is this recorded somewhere?
I mean, all it shows actually it's on Spreaker.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to go find this.
But
that's amazing.
But if Drewski, I meant to ask you last night, if you can send me that flow again, just like you did last night.
No pressure, exactly the same.
I will. I mean, Drewski's. I mean, music is his first. That's his. I mean, as good as he is at sports, sports broadcasting.
Yeah,
he's just as good at music.
That's awesome.
But so I was gonna say,
yeah,
if Drewski can send me that flow again, I will put that into the Bledsoe interview
at
the end.
That would be amazing.
Yes.
And I've got to go listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Second up, I need to acknowledge, and he is the one of the other most diehard fans.
For sure.
Mean, he's
the motivational coach.
You know what? It's like Slater retired this week, and it's so fitting that Jazz came on because Jazz is the definition of class.
Yep.
And I never really publicly thanked him on air for. Jazz was like
he was such a support.
The first like getting behind me on the IE Sports Radio vote.
He promoted the heck out of you
because of Jazz. I think I made the Hall of Fame.
He legit promoted the heck out of you.
My hype man. So Jazz, you're a real one. I appreciate you. I'm so glad you're listening. And like I was saying about Slate's class, Jazz's class. My man Drewski's class. So I just want to acknowledge my people in the chats, my ride or dies. And anyone else, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Come in the chat room. It's always more fun. It's always more fun. He says he's got you when it's live. Oh man, Drewski, that
I love it.
Drewski, I'll edit that up. Fire. So
Drewski, don't go anywhere. I got questions for you, but you got to hold on. So with the Watson moment, you and I, when we were at that game, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember turning to you and saying like, "Oh, he's done," and like just watching him take it in and just, he had been fun to watch that year, and it was, again, like we knew it was coming, but like it was kind of a bummer. And with Slade, it was the same thing, and I didn't want to not see him one last time, and if I'm being fully honest, and obviously I will be, we did not make it through the whole game. It was so bad. It was so cold. My head was literally frozen.
Hey, no one cares. I'm just kidding.
So I didn't actually get to see.
No, credit to you for braving the elements.
I mean, really credit to Mel for like
going there when it was. Yeah. I mean, one of the rare years where the last game of the season was not a hat and t-shirt game,
it was just
a preparation for playoffs. It was a meaningless game, which is weird.
And it was a meaningless, very, very poorly played game. But point being though, it was really, Slate has meant so much to me over the years and really so much to you.
Well, I was gonna say I take a little credit for him coming back for another year, but he had already made that decision.
He had made that decision
last year.
Yeah.
But Slate was a big reason that kind of gave me the confidence.
Yes.
To kind of start our Bleepin City.
And it was one of the coolest things because when you first talked to him about it, he was like, "Yeah, that's cool. That's cool." But then, what was it, like 6 weeks later? Not even. And you got to be like, "I did it. Like I followed my dream."
And he
knew exactly who you were.
He's such like a class dude. It wasn't like he was just giving me, running around. Yeah, you should do it. Blah blah blah, and forget who I am.
Right. Oh no, he
remembered. He like the smile that came on his face when I showed up at Foxborough with our Bleepin City microphones.
Yep, exactly.
That was.
It was awesome.
I mean, Slate. I've never heard one person say a bad word about him.
Oh my goodness!
And it's
he is
the
the epitome of what a classy, just good human.
Yeah.
He is just, we idolize these guys, on the field for like what their athletic, abilities are. And especially as kids and stuff, you really look up to these people, and it's really, it's so rare that someone is just as genuinely good a person as he is. And just as grounded and as humble and as caring.
He's all that and more. I mean,
exactly.
There's no words that can accurately do him justice.
Exactly. And I mean, I love all of his amazing accolades on the field and everything he was able to accomplish.
Yeah.
But what's really cool about him is that he's 10 times each of those things as a human.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, like one of the kind of cliches they all say, I'll never meet your heroes, you'll be disappointed.
Right.
He exceeded it along with Drew.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
He was just on that same level of class.
Oh my goodness. And
I saw some of the Dynasty just a little bit so I could talk about it because of the show. And Drew, as he was in 2001 when Brady came in and took his starter job by injury, he was just as classy on the Dynasty, on my interview. I mean, he spent almost an hour with us on our show,
and he volunteered. Like, it was what the coolest thing about. I mean, there were so many cool things about the interactions with Drew, but for me, one of the coolest things about
you need some water.
Don't draw attention to it. It doesn't help.
But that's just me. That's just the caring person in me. I'm not trying to make you feel self-conscious or anything.
So
just getting embarrassed.
So anyway, in that first interaction with Drew, one of the coolest things about it was, we were in like a small group setting, and, he went around and just was talking to everybody and wanted to get to know us, he was asking like what we do for, I messed that up.
Oh no, that was just the our headsets.
So, like he was asking, what do we do for work? Like what are we into, all of that, and I talked to him about, being a therapist, and, we talked about mental health and football and sports for a little bit. And then, when he was talking with you weren't like, please be on my podcast. So you weren't like begging him at all. You were just talking about like that you had just started it, and that you really felt the need for there to be this positive voice in the media and like to show this, kind of the stuff that's not in the scorecards and all of that. And he's like, cool, let's do it. and
I didn't, it didn't register.
No.
Like I was like, like,
yeah,
I thought he was just saying like, oh, that's really cool.
And I'm sitting there freaking out internally. Like I was like losing my mind. And you're just like sitting there like, and like when we left and I looked at you and I was like, oh my God, Drew Bledsoe is going to be on your podcast. And you were like, what? I was like, how did you miss that?
I was like, wait, he said what? Like, it didn't. It's one of those moments that like,
but he was so sincere and it was so genuine. But the other thing, and this was something that he talked about really more at that first event. But one of the things, Drew for me, was my first favorite Patriot. He's really, when Drew started on the Patriots, that's like really when I have like strong memories of the Patriots.
Convenient, right?
It was very convenient.
Right as the franchise starts to go up.
Exactly.
That's when you come in.
I mean, I watched before.
I suffered through the 2-14. Actually, I suffered, and I didn't get to see some of those seasons because they're all blacked out because they couldn't even sell out the stadium.
Exactly. No, I watched before, but but I was too young to really remember much.
Right.
And so my like really early Patriots memories are all with Drew.
Yeah.
And so I was a huge fan and I loved him. And then when the injury happened and they tried to make the Brady swap, I was pissed. I was one of many angry fans. And even months into this where, Brady's succeeding and, really, doing well and winning people over. And, I remember at the time, I would go to this sports memorabilia store that my niece's dad owns, and, people would have like Brady cards and they'd be like, oh, you got to have a Brady. And I was like, I don't want one. Like, I was so mad. And
you swimming in money right now if you did.
I turned down millions. I like the number of things, because I'm so loyal. And when I passionately don't like someone, I like don't want anything to do with their cards or things like that. The number of like LeBron James that I would have had, the number of, Brady's, although I don't hate Brady by any means, but at the time I was very angry about the situation.
Cards are the holy grail.
Oh, absolutely. But there are so many athletes that just because I dislike them as an athlete, I would be like, no, I don't want that.
You wear your emotions on your sleeve.
Yeah, I do.
And you're loyal to,
to a fault.
To a fault, yeah.
Absolutely. And so, but like one of the coolest things about, seeing Drew as a person, was, I mean, exactly what you said, like he's everything we would have wanted and more, but the qualities that he has as a human and as a business owner, and the way that he treats his employees, his family, and the way that he, really wanted to make the business,
I mean,
viable for everyone. And just the line of, I want to run a business my mom would be proud of, like
that's what stuck with me, because obviously, how close I am with my mom.
I know.
When he said that, I was like,
well, she must have known we were about to be talking about her, because she just called again.
And I can't give her grief for it.
No, because we moved the day.
Usually it's on Wednesdays when she'd call before, right in the middle of the show. I posted a clip, which is great.
It was wonderful. My parents had been watching that episode, and we talked after, and they were like, we loved it when Ismelda called. They were so sweet.
That was great.
It was wonderful. But
like you said, Drew is now, I think it's over 10 years now, he's established just a really great wine business.
Yeah, and it's good wine.
And we had the chance to, taste.
Oh, yeah.
And get the story behind it. And you can tell, it's not like, I always say like the Kardashians that'll
they slap their name on anything.
They'll just be like, oh, where's the check? Okay, great.
He's literally involved in every step of the process.
He's passionate about it. Like it's a huge source of pride for him and the region he's from.
Absolutely.
Like you can see how much it means for him to represent the small town of Walla Walla, Washington.
Right. And to represent it, and do it justice, like.
Well, in the interview, he talks about it a little bit, like with this sustainability. And we learned a lot about the wine thing, wine business. Like the most employees of wineries are people that are seasonal. No health insurance.
No health insurance, no benefits. They don't have ways to be stabilized for their families. And that is not how he does it. Every employee is a full-time benefited employee, and he said that they have very little turnover, and the wait list to be an employee there is crazy, which is insane. That's not heard of. You don't hear of companies having wait lists to get in.
I think that the best laugh I got when we were having dinner with him. After he said that, I was like, because I think I'd already talked at the time. Like, oh yeah, I work with computers. And I was like, Drew, are you hiring? Like, can I come work for you?
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, no, he cares. He obviously cares deeply about the name, because his name is on it.
Exactly.
And it's like Boston to us, how we represent our cities, and we're so prideful.
Absolutely.
He's like that from his hometown, where he came from, and then I think that's what makes him just the person that he is.
Absolutely. And he and you can see the pride and the passion, but also like, and I say this sincerely, like he has a quality product. Really it is. You've known me a million years. How often do I drink red wine?
not often.
I mean, literally, like never, you know. If I drink wine at all, it's white. And they were serving all their reds. And not only did I enjoy them, I like genuinely liked them and would buy them and drink them. And I have never.
I'm not, I'll drink beer. I'll drink,
right.
Like some of the more harder stuff.
Right.
If I'm with friends.
Yeah.
I never drink wine. And I said before, like, and I'm trying to not have any wine.
Right. I remember you said that.
I tried it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is good.
Right.
Like, oh.
And each one was better than the next.
I was like, give me some more of that rare meat. Now, I usually don't eat meat, like that. And I was like, give me some more of that so I can have with the wine.
Exactly.
It was amazing.
Really good.
It was really good.
And it was just a really good product and something that, he should be proud of.
Yeah.
And I think it's really, it's a huge testimonial to him, that he has put this passion into it, and has really built a very, very sustainable, quality product.
Yeah.
That hopefully we'll get to enjoy with him again in the future.
Yes.
Whenever we get out to the winery, because we still have to do that.
I really, especially after looking, doing some research on it.
Oh, yeah.
Before I posted the interview.
Yep.
Just some of the aerial visuals of the whatever they call the wine fields.
Yep.
Vineyards. It's vineyards. That's thank you. It's beautiful.
It is. It absolutely is. And
so I'm sure you feel the same. You got to feel happy for him.
Oh yeah. And he always said the right thing publicly, always, but any possible animosity or frustration or disappointment that had existed when the injury happened and when the change in quarterbacks happened and everything is long gone. He has genuine respect for Brady and he loves, he still loves the Patriots and, is proud to have been a Patriot and to have started the dynasty. And the timing of you finishing the edit of the interview, really couldn't have been more perfect because, I have not yet watched the dynasty because, we're going to do that together. But when
I haven't either.
Oh, I caught you the other day. I already knew you had. Liar. But anyway,
what's ironic though is that before this whole dynasty thing came out with the Apple, I had already named mine.
I know.
I already
named it.
I wish I just released it slightly earlier.
Yeah.
But because basically my interview I called the birth of the dynasty,
which is
Drew Bledsoe episode.
Right.
So if anyone hasn't seen it yet, go check it out on the YouTube. Actually, Drewski will appreciate it too because he talks a little bit about
being
he played in Dallas.
Yeah,
he played in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. So he finished his career.
He didn't say it in the interview, but he also talked with us about Buffalo.
Yeah.
He had some interesting things.
Yeah.
And
he had positive.
I learned a lot of things from him that I'd never heard from him before.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Well, you knew to ask different questions than what he's been asked before.
Yeah.
But it was fun to hear him talk about the different. I was gonna say, but it was fun to hear his perspective of the different coaching styles and and all of that. It sounds like, to this day, Pete Carroll's the one he's the closest to. Which is also kind of also fits with their personalities that would be the person that he's, still the most connected to.
Yeah.
But yeah, he spoke very positively about his time in Dallas and everything there. Called himself a masochist for wanting to go back to Parcells, but other than that,
And Drewski pretty much hit the nail on the head. You don't have to be, a diehard to recognize the, class.
Exactly.
You never really heard a bad thing about him.
No.
He wasn't.
Even when all of the shit was going on. And,
And right after he signed the massive contract.
I know. Well, and, for those of you who haven't watched Mikey's edition, or also the Apple TV Dynasty edition, they do get into, the relationship too that Bledsoe had with Kraft and what that was like. And Kraft, talking about the injury and, because people who didn't watch football then or didn't follow the Patriots then don't realize how serious that injury really was. I mean, he could have died. Like he legitimately could have died.
Here's the thing they didn't cover in the Dynasty that I covered.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I don't think people realize this. You probably didn't even realize it either.
He went back in the game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Drew took that massive hit.
Yeah.
And you can see it because they have the NFL films footage from it. He was knocked out cold, like on the sideline.
Yeah.
For a good 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Whereas in today's game, today's game, you even have a hint of feeling wobbly. Right. They pull you.
Right.
There he was knocked out,
right.
and
then he went back in.
Well, internal bleeding was happening.
Right. They didn't know, but
which he could have died if he didn't get treated.
Exactly.
But he went back in the game in the next series. Mm-hmm. So talk about
and think about the fact that if things had unfolded in any different way, it could have been another Reggie Lewis story, and that would have been heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Things have a weird way of not necessarily working out because, if things fully worked out, Bledsoe would have fully, been the one to, lead the Patriots to the first Super Bowl. And then Brady would have, come in and taken over the dynasty or whatever, but things have a weird way of also kind of happening how they need to in a way. And
the thing here's the thing about Drew. So here in New England, his time here came to an end because of Brady.
Yeah.
When he was in Dallas, was Tony Romo was the up and comer who kind of forced him into retirement. But
I think at that point it was a little different for him.
It was. He was at the end of his career,
right? Exactly. And he had his kids, and he had all this other stuff, and the wine stuff had already started at that point.
I don't know if the business started, but
not the full on business, but he was starting to dabble in kind of playing around with doing it.
Exactly. So like Drewski, points out. He was a class act.
Yeah.
When he was in New England.
Yep.
In Buffalo. He tells stories of Buffalo. He couldn't walk to the store, and everyone wants to buy him a coffee and just sit down and just be like, "What's up?" And knowing Drew, I'm sure he sat and
he probably sat and talked, but he probably also turned down the coffee.
Oh yeah, maybe. Maybe.
No, I think I really mean that. I think I can't imagine him comfortably accepting coffee from.
I don't know if he actually said coffee. I'm just saying that as an example, but
no, for sure.
Knowing the person he is, I'm sure he was decent to everyone that
for sure
he met.
Yeah. Well, it was do you remember what he was saying about the draft night?
Yes, actually, that's another great reason to watch my version of the Dynasty.
Yeah,
is the Dynasty left out so much on Drew that I covered.
Exactly.
The Pats. The funny thing is most number one picks know weeks.
Yep.
The agents have worked it out. Weeks, months, however long.
Yep.
It is that the number one team has had the pick.
Yeah.
That they're going to be number one.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much.
Especially in recent years where even when there's a 1-2, it's you still know.
Yeah. And in my interview, I'm like, Drew, did you know?
Yeah.
He's like, well, no, I didn't.
No. I knew I was going in the top 2.
Yeah.
But and do you remember, first time flying?
That's right.
And flew with his family. And he's like, I was a kid and I
think that was the first time he flew with his family.
Yeah.
The other thing that he had said, do you remember the college visit? Probably the first time he flew, I'm going to guess. Or maybe
when he went down to Florida?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was being recruited and he knew he wanted to go to Washington or Washington State.
Right.
And he's like, you know what? I went on a trip to Miami. It's like, I knew I wasn't going to play there,
right.
but I could not resist the trip to South
exactly.
Beach.
Why not?
And I was like, my man. That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it was little tidbits like that you know that.
Well, and this was not in the interview. This was when we were talking at the dinner. But seeing the look on his face when he talked about the AFC Championship game and not knowing that his dad was there.
That's a great story.
And then looking up and seeing his dad was there.
Yeah. So if people don't remember, so Drew was not the starter going into that 2001 AFC Championship game.
Correct, because Brady had come in and had taken over.
And almost like the football gods throwing him a bone for what he went through.
Yep.
Brady, who never gets injured, except for that one ACL year.
Yep.
Never leaves games.
No.
Got hurt early in that game.
Yep.
And who came and rescued us?
Bledsoe.
It was Bledsoe.
Yeah.
And Drew told us, which is it's crazy to think about. He wasn't supposed to play in that game.
Right.
His dad made the trip.
Yep. Cross country
to the game to be there. Probably, not expecting to see his son play.
Right, but to support him anyway.
But with the stars aligning as they did, it was like the perfect storm.
Absolutely.
It's probably the only time I'll ever say I was glad to see Tom leave a game or get hurt.
Yeah,
but that was
well, and it's funny, and I didn't say this to Drew, but I remember watching that game.
Yeah.
And when Brady got injured, I remember being like, "Oh, good, we get Bledsoe back. Like Brady's done. Like we're, now we're gonna have Bledsoe." Because I was still like, my loyalty was always there. I was like, good. Bledsoe's now gonna, and then, obviously that didn't happen. But but in my head, I was like, yes, and it wasn't that I was rooting for Brady to be injured, but I was just so sure that by Bledsoe coming in and, saving the day, that like he got his spot back.
Yeah. Now that was when you think back on it, I mean, that was like, I'm so glad he had that. That was his kind of goodbye.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much of this is in the Dynasty, because, like I said, I haven't watched it yet. But one thing that people,
I haven't either.
You're so funny. Something that people don't talk about, because obviously everything worked out. Belichick was a new coach in New England.
Yeah.
And had come off of not a great coaching tenure in Cleveland. And
they do actually highlight that.
But do they talk about the fact that Belichick got shit for the move? And he didn't have,
why he got ran out of Cleveland.
Yeah. He did not have the like full on okay, because we, over the years, believe in Belichick, trust in Bill.
Yeah.
That wasn't true then.
There was no Bill we trust.
Right. There was no in Bill we trust. He was getting heat big time, and Kraft didn't support the move.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's interesting because
it was it could have gone very differently in New England if Belichick both hadn't made that choice when he did, and also had that choice not gone as it did.
A good, an interesting question on that season to think about is, do they still make that Super Bowl run with Bledsoe?
Right.
And I think they do.
Right. I do too. I mean, they had a very, very strong team, but also the other unknown is, because how many games was Bledsoe out? 4?
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
So the other thing is, if Brady hadn't stepped in and performed as he did, those games could have been the difference in the division and stuff,
Mhm.
you know. So um
Well, yeah, it's funny. Bledsoe gets injured. Brady
Right.
comes in, saves our butt.
right.
Brady gets injured.
Bledsoe comes in, saves our butt.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was it's that was such a unique year.
Yep.
Like really
Yep.
special year. And it's funny to hear Bledsoe talk about, you know, this guy Tom's not gonna, he's not gonna be anything. This kid like has no idea what he's
Right.
like
Right.
he's just this enthusiastic rookie and
a super confident, enthusiastic rookie.
But even then, though, too, and he jokes around about it.
Yep.
Drew is not. He doesn't hold anything against Brady. Like
no, not at all.
There's a lot of players
not at all.
that. I mean, you see with great superstars.
Mm-hmm.
You saw with Shaq and Kobe for many years before they,
Yep.
buried the hatchet.
Yep.
Years later, but a lot of times when you have two. Stars,
strong personalities, and want to be the leaders.
It can burn bridges, and
absolutely.
But
well,
but with Drew, he's
Drew's not a like me mentality guy.
No,
he's
not
all,
a mean-spirited dude at all. He's just
And he, I mean, Brady didn't do anything. Like Brady had nothing to do with the injury. He had nothing to do.
But a lot of guys of lesser character would have just See, that's the guy that's,
that stole my spot. Yeah.
Taking my food,
Yep. For sure. And, and to a degree, rightfully so.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, Brady didn't create the situation, but he stepped in and performed. So of course there's reason to have resentment. Yeah. But I think, you said like, you don't ever hear anyone say anything bad about Slate. I've really never heard anyone say anything bad about Bledsoe. We've also never really heard anyone say anything bad about Brady other than the stupid talking heads that, just want to bash whatever. But as a person, no one's ever, criticized Brady. No. And I think they're all just too classy for there to be that kind of animosity or anger, at all. I think Brady respects what Bledsoe did for the Patriots and where he got them, and Bledsoe absolutely respects Brady's talent and his greatness and what he was able to accomplish. But I think that anyone that says that the birth of the dynasty happened with Brady doesn't know the full Patriots history. Yeah.
They're either too young or they're not.
Right.
They're not a
true
hardcore fan.
There is no Brady and there is no 6 Super Bowls if we did not have Drew Bledsoe. Yeah. And if we had
without Bledsoe, there's no Parcells coming here to want to coach the team.
Right.
There's no free agents like some of the veterans that we got in to come play with us.
Absolutely.
Bledsoe, 5 years before Brady was even an idea here, we were in the Super Bowl with Bledsoe.
Absolutely.
And that started bringing in the influx of free agents, better coaching.
Yep.
You could almost argue so Belichick, people don't realize Belichick in 96 when they went to the Super Bowl, came here for 1 year as a defensive coordinator for 1 year under Parcells.
Right.
And if Bledsoe's not here and we're not a competitive team with him, who knows if Belichick had that experience here and would have ever became our coach.
Absolutely.
So, there's so many variables that when you really look deeper into it, that
100%.
Bledsoe paved the way to lay that foundation for Brady, for all the, just the structure of everything to come together
100%
the way it did. And that's not happening without Drew.
Right. And and we can't omit the fact, Robert Kraft buying the team obviously was the most significant piece. But also Kraft as an owner, the way that he is, allowed Bledsoe to be who he was and allowed them to, Kraft, loved Bledsoe like a son, but also wanted the team to succeed. He was, not only is he a businessman, but he's a fan, he is a genuine fan. And Bledsoe, when you were working on the edit and you sent one of the clips to me, and I remember listening to one of the things that Bledsoe said, and I I was like, can we please play this for John Henry? But Bledsoe was talking about, he's like, it's weird, but not all owners want to win. And he's like, but Kraft was an owner that wanted to win. And I was like, yeah, I think we know another Boston owner that falls into that category.
We know that all too well firsthand right now.
Exactly. And I literally, like, my immediate reaction was, John Henry. But aside from that, Kraft genuinely wanted the team to succeed. He wanted it to be in New England. He did not want to move the team. And he was willing to do what he needed to do to also make it a attractive landing place for, many people, for free agents. And also, went out on a limb with some of the draft picks and stuff, and overstepped and, made certain picks, to basically benefit Bledsoe, despite what other people might have wanted. And all of those things, all of those variables start with Kraft and they start with Bledsoe. And all of those things not happening means there is no Brady, and it means there is no dynasty. And it's really that's the bottom line.
The kids these days, they don't realize there was every time before Brady. But Bledsoe, from someone who saw it firsthand, Bledsoe was, he was the man.
Right. And he was, for those of us who were kids at that time, he was like the first, because before that, like, there weren't, Patriots to idolize and to,
he was the first kind of like superstar.
Exactly.
Well, not the first, because in the the early 70s and
right, there were Red Sox players and stuff like that. But
no, and like 86 they made the Super Bowl. They got blown up at the Bears, but they had some flashes. But there was no
no. He was the first real like name that like went hand in hand with the Patriots and success. So
when you thought Patriots in the early to mid 90s, it was Drew. Drew's the first name.
100%.
So was there anything in the interview that surprised you? That
anything that surprised
or
me?
like was any cool things? Cool.
Well, here's the thing. I was there for the interview, and I've seen the video multiple times. So at this point, no. But I think we've highlighted a lot of the facts and the little snippets that I particularly
and for those of you
love.
that want more, check out, if you're on the YouTube channel right now, it's right in the videos. Drew Bledsoe.
There's a link on the Twitter page, and we'll keep posting it because it's really it really shows another side.
Our heart and soul into making making that piece. So
absolutely,
it gives us so much happiness to have people get to enjoy it as much as we do.
And to really, hear from Bledsoe firsthand, about different things, the talking heads can speculate all they want, but it's a total different, situation when you're actually hearing the stories, from Bledsoe himself.
Why did I start the show?
Because you wanted to bring the, what's not on the scorecard and the positive side to
what you don't see on the TV.
Exactly.
And I figured I'm not getting the coverage that I want.
Exactly.
If you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. So.
Exactly. Actually, you know what? I will say, one of my favorite stories that Bledsoe told, and again, it's not surprising. We've heard it from him, but was the story with Andre Tippett.
That was a good one.
I really liked that he. It was just funny. I'm not going to give it away because I want people to go watch it and hear Bledsoe tell it. But that was one of my favorite stories that he told. And I like his trivia question that he asked.
I know.
That was a fun one. And you didn't get it right.
No.
Which is actually impressive.
Yeah.
Because so much random sports history. You knew the context of the question.
Oh, I did because I remember.
Because you prompted the trivia fact.
Yeah.
But it was fun to kind of hear a unique fact that was hard to.
He stumped.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's hard to do. Like if you guys ever try to stump two guns, like that is hard to do.
Well, what happens whenever you try to bet me on?
Oh, I know. Well, I wasn't even gonna say bet you. I was gonna say
but like
no.
Challenge.
I was gonna say like whenever you and I like argue over anecdotes or like like little things, you're always right. I will never forget. Like just to give like an idea of like how Mike is in terms of like his like random knowledge of sports, and it's all sports and it's all moments and things. Like he knows random trivial things that in a million years you might not even be able to Google. But one of my favorite moments, it was one of the first times you and I had met, and you were over at my place, and I have a picture. So many years ago, two of my very dear friends got me Red Sox tickets for a birthday present. And we went to what ultimately was John Lester's no-hitter. And so I have a photo from that game framed that I had out. And you were looking at my pictures and stuff. And you look at that. And I said, oh, that's from John Lester's no-hitter. And you said, oh, that was a rainy day. It was in May. I was like, I don't know. I was there, but I don't know.
You know, I might not remember what I ate yesterday or even 5 minutes ago.
I was going to say, you don't even remember what you did this morning.
But I can remember the weather on
20 years ago.
20 years later on specific sports games. Like it's.
Yeah. And it was so funny because being at that game, my memories of it are very specific. We had amazing seats. We were 3 rows back on the third baseline. But I mean,
did you even realize the no-hitter was happening?
So this is where I was going. So I don't know if this is the best part or like ode to stupidity on my end, but my friends and I, were watching the game. Obviously the Sox won, but game's over. And they are jumping around and cheering like crazy. Like they looked like they had just won the freaking World Series. And I was like, what is going on? And
so you didn't realize it until
had no idea. Because the superstition is true. No one talks about it. There was no one like, oh, look at the scoreboard. No one's pointing or talking or anything. And obviously we had looked at the scoreboard at various points, but I hadn't put it together.
Well, when you're in person too, though,
we couldn't hear the announcers.
When you go to commercials, they'll always pop up, 0 runs.
Right.
That sometimes will stick out when you go to commercial.
Right.
But you're at the ballpark. I'm sure you're talking to your friends.
Exactly. Rachel was ducking from foul balls, because there's a sign at all of the, front Fenway seats that says, danger, foul balls may may fly near your head. And so she was like, oh, I have to be careful. It was like she was just being a goof, but it was so funny because she was like, I mean, we had been to 1,000.
Not me throwing the food.
Yeah, no.
Let me get that ball.
But I mean, and at this point, she had been to, thousands of Sox games with us. It was just so funny because she was like, oh, this could be dangerous. It was just, so we were having those kinds of conversations and we're just watching, and I'm seeing them jumping around and we had to ask someone. We had to ask the people next to us. No idea. No clue that we witnessed a no-hitter until after the no-hitter.
In fairness to you, it was mid-May. The weather wasn't great, so probably.
I mean, as you told me.
Yeah, right.
As you had informed me.
For some reason, I remember watching the game and it was, mid-May. It was cold, probably in the 40s.
Yeah.
It was windy too.
I mean, I trust you.
And I just remember watching it and thinking, man, these fans must be miserable. And then I went out and I didn't really watch, much of the game. And I came back and it was like, he threw a no-hitter. Wow.
Wait, Drewski, hold on. Before you go, I need to know, what do you think about the Grant Williams move? Because he's kind of said some things that are not super Dallas positive.
What did he say?
He didn't come outright and say anything. But when he went back to Charlotte, which is, his hometown, he basically made a comment along the lines of, it's nice to play where we play as a team and we work together and everybody touches the ball.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was an interesting comment. It could, obviously mean a bazillion different things. I also, again, who knows how true this is, but I had read some stuff that like the people in Dallas were getting tired of his antics or whatever.
Really?
I mean, who knows if there really was the tension.
Let me just give him some love and plug his.
Yeah, of course.
For those of you that are Cowboys fans, Stars fans, Rangers fans, champs. I'm so jealous. We're so far
they
from
stole
that.
Evaldi.
Go check out my man
Mavericks.
Drewski show, DFW Sports Raps. You know how many followers he has?
I'm sure crazy number.
Over 2,000.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, on YouTube or on Twitter?
YouTube, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And Drewski tried to play it. Oh, that's just from my rapping days.
Well, I was gonna say, but Drewski, like he puts out a really lot of good content.
He's setting the bar.
Yeah,
setting the bar. Like I'm just trying to stay.
You gotta keep
trying to stay afloat, trying to keep up with my man. But
Drewski, keep setting that bar high for him.
If you're not a Dallas fan, you got to check out Drewski's show.
Absolutely.
The man has he's got it. He has it.
He does.
He's got that it factor.
He does.
Charisma, like I'm entertained all the time. We've sat, turned off games, just put it on or just lounging. It is the show is amazing. DFW Sports Raps. Subscribe to it on YouTube.
Absolutely.
It's great stuff.
And watch his PSF Sports.
And
which he is about to go do.
Like I do on the Celtics. Yes. Go to PF. Actually, because of Drewski,
he's literally about to go.
Because of Drewski, I started doing it too. But he's about to go do his Mavs game. So
so go check him out.
After this show.
Exactly.
Go check him out.
Exactly.
Appreciate you, Drewski, for tuning in. I always say brothers for life. But yeah,
we got to have him on before the Mavs game in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
and that's like that game's in like a week and a half.
And I got to get the sample from his his rap. Like, how cool would that be?
That'd be really cool. That would be really cool.
So,
I do want to touch on Celtics for a moment.
Yes.
They are back tonight. They are playing Chicago at the moment.
The Celtics are.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. They're 25 minutes into their game. I do not know if they're winning or not because we do not have it on.
Well, because we're focused.
I know. But this is one of those days, like I literally have no idea like how they're doing. But this is one of those days where like I could see this being a struggle because the Celtics historically, when they've had extended rest, don't always whip right back into shape.
I think that's true with anyone that's been on vacation.
I mean, true, but the Celtics like really do have like a rough go of it at times when like they shouldn't. But they are away in Chicago. Xavier Tillman is available tonight. I do not know if he has
the new guy.
Yes, I'm excited.
And the other guy, I guess, is available too.
I thought he was still out today, but I might have made that up. And I am, one thing I don't remember if we talked about this, but one of the things that Tillman said about coming here, Marcus Smart said to him, give him your all, play with all your heart, like leave your heart on the floor, and like they'll love you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's so true.
Well, I mean, he was here with Memphis when Smart came back, so I'm sure he had to see. And he had no idea he was going to be traded. So
right.
He was probably just soaking it in like, oh, these fans.
Yeah.
These fans really bring it.
Yeah. Well, what's cool, I mean, so first
I also
of all,
liked what you said about what Zion said about the fans.
Oh, Zion was like, damn, like he was like, impressed. He was impressed. He was like, that like, he said like, there's a lot of history here. But he was like, it was really,
he loved playing in
he loved getting to play.
The atmosphere.
He loved the atmosphere. And, I think that like KP is actually a perfect example of, what Boston can mean to a player in the sense that
embraces just the love.
Exactly.
The love of the fans that are just so invested in
exactly.
Teams.
But like you and I have talked all season long, like literally all season long, about the fact that KP never stops smiling. He looks so happy all the time. And right before the All-Star break, when they interviewed him, he's like, I can't stop smiling. Like he literally said what we've been observing all season. He loves it here. And
what did some of the players say? Like maybe 10 games in the season, we had some pretty exciting games. What were they saying?
Are you talking about what Al said? About what Al said, that
I think so.
it was KP and
like they were asking.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was KP and it was
probably Drew Holiday.
No, I don't think it was Drew. I think it was someone. I think it was O'Shea. I think it was Brizzy. And they were like, "Man, are the fans always this loud?" Like they were like so like, and I mean, and you and I, you know, at some of the earlier games this season, you know, you and I had talked about like this game had a playoff atmosphere and stuff like. I mean, we talked about that periodically. You know, when there's a game and you're like, "Wow," like the crowd was so into it. But like the frequency of the playoff atmosphere games that we're getting, you know, and how excited fans are, and the love that we, you know, all have for these guys, and and they love it, and they love each other, they love it here. I have to say this because you know, I've loved JB forever, but my love for him like grew substantially over the weekend. So for those of you that didn't watch the All-Star game, and I told
you know what, because we are running up kind of against it.
Yeah.
I want to say, so what you just said about the fans, and the Celtics. So, John Henry, take note.
Yeah.
The fans here, if you put a halfway decent product or a great product, the fans will
respond. They will respond.
The city will come together.
They will embrace you.
I feel like in Boston, the fans will add, you know,
we're like we're the 10th man or the 8th man or like whatever.
And what John Henry is doing to just.
But not just what John Henry is not just doing to the fans and to the team, but to the players who signed to be here for extended periods of time, who were promised a competitive team. Like, I don't want to hear, well, this guy's going to be good in 3 years. I don't care. You had a team that at the All-Star break last year could have been still competitive if you had made 1 or 2 moves, and you did nothing.
It's so disheartening. Just
I love
just talking to some of my, you know, friends, fans of other teams.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, we're so excited. The Dodgers, did you see what they did? They got this guy, this guy, this guy. You know, I can't wait to see.
Look at them invest in their team.
Even Yankee fans, Soto, we got Soto, this and that.
They even are happy they got Doogie.
Can't even bring back Justin Turner,
who wanted to be here.
And our owner is
too freaking stubborn to pick up the phone.
A coward that he can't. When he sees the cameras, he turns the other way.
Oh yeah, he's hiding. 100%.
He will not face the media, the fans, the public.
Yeah, Breslow's his fall guy.
It's such a shame, you know, in this, you know, just great city, great ballpark.
But
fans that invest so much in the team.
What I will say, people are starting to speak out, and I appreciate it. Pedroia said something. Rafi said something. Kenley said something. I mean, good for them. And I hope the only way, because Pedroia saying something doesn't matter because he's retired.
Well,
they'll trade Devers.
It's bottom line.
No, they will trade Devers. They will trade Kenley if they feel like they're, you know, running amok. If the fans continue to show up and spend money, then Henry doesn't have to do a damn thing differently.
Like I was, you know, we were just talking earlier today about this. Here's the problem: is that you have such a historical landmark and bucket list ballpark. Like Fenway. What Henry's doing now is exploiting it. So
100%.
He knows that in the summer, you'll get all the people from, you know, Chicago, California, Europe that have on their bucket list. We have to visit Fenway, see a game there. Well, and they're going to continue to get the huge flow of fans that just want to visit Fenway. And even, you know, as much as we're upset, a lot of the Boston fans still want to go to
I mean, that one I'm seeing waver more. I think
it's starting to change a little bit.
That one's wavering more,
but change a little bit, but
what won't change is that people that have had season tickets in their family for 50 years are not going to give them up this year because they're angry. They're going to continue to pay for them. They may not go to the games. They may try to sell more of them, but the Red Sox will still get credit for a sellout because those tickets were sold, whether or not there's a body in the seat. And so that's what they're looking at. They don't care they literally don't care if the stadium itself is empty, but it's considered a sellout.
Oh, it's funny when you say they. It seems like it's mostly.
I mean, it's Henry.
It's
yeah.
Henry. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe Warner. I don't know, but it's.
Yeah, I don't know enough about
Henry,
the Warner.
It seems like he
Sam
is.
Kennedy, I think, is an actual fan, and I think is in a tough bind.
I mean, I met him last year. I talked to him a little bit.
I know you've got to post that interview. I mean, it's really good.
I posted last year, but I can.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one. Okay, I believe you.
But
I just didn't remember that you posted
and it's, we gave Chaim Bloom so much shit last year.
Yeah. Because they wanted us to. They wanted him to be the fall guy.
Knowing
and
now,
he was.
Knowing now how tied his hands were.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like he basically was a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, and then Breslin will be next.
And I mean,
100%.
And I'm sure Chaim did some great things in Tampa because they always have competitive teams. Henry didn't allow him to do anything.
Right.
And
no, Henry did. He allowed him to build a team that will be good in 5 years. That is what he allowed him to do. So in 5 years, we can, in 5 years, if every single player plays to their potential, doesn't get injured, doesn't retire, doesn't demand a trade, like whatever, then we can all hang our heads and say we're sorry, Chaim.
Well, because we finished last a bunch of years, we have some high picks, but
it's different in baseball.
You never know what that.
Right.
Picks.
It's different in baseball.
It's feast or famine.
Right.
But here's the thing too. So they keep saying, "Oh yeah, we got a future coming."
Yeah.
So we keep having bridge year after bridge year.
Yep.
And then let's say some of these guys do pan out and become great players.
Yep.
What's going to happen when their first contract's?
Oh, they're not going to sign them again.
They're going to.
Yeah, we're going to go right back.
And it's just going to be Mookie Betts 2.0 all over again. So
exactly. No, it's all going to continue. And
maybe we need to just go down there and start. Start the protest. Sell the team. But
I really do want to say this about JB because I think it is important.
Say it.
I know.
It is my show, so we can go a little overtime, but I want to keep it around an hour. So, but you have the form now. Please do your JB piece.
It's your show.
It's hard for me to say that.
I know it is. I know it is. Listen, I have no problem with you having the face of the show and being the name and being the guy, but you don't sit there and say it is your show.
Well, I mean, ultimately,
hey.
When the final decision comes, am I going to use this piece or that piece?
You always ask me and trust my opinion.
Of course I do.
Exactly.
You have been,
I am spot on. I have been right every time.
The show wouldn't be where it's at without you.
And I appreciate that. Thank you. And my editorial feedback has been dead on. But anyway,
I'll make a logo. Our Bleepin City with Swizzle.
I don't even need that.
You gotta get a thing with you holding the microphone now.
I have one of those from the past training camp. Remember?
Well, kind of.
But anyway, so JB.
So yeah,
okay.
JB thing.
So just because I feel like a lot of people didn't understand this.
Are you talking about the slam dunk contest?
I am. So here's the thing. I know a lot of people didn't watch, and I don't blame them. I mean, I don't usually watch. I only watched because.
Are you talking about the slam dunk contest or the actual All-Star?
Well, I'm talking about both, but in this moment, I'm talking about the slam dunk contest. I literally only watched because JB was in it. But one thing that people don't totally understand about Jaylen Brown is everything he does is bigger than basketball. And one of the reasons that he signed the Supermax when he did was because Boston made a commitment to him to support his endeavors in bringing awareness to, different, different ventures that are, really, really important to JB. And he really, really wants to, find his niche beyond basketball. And he is just a great, great person. And, so people were all excited because that Mac guy that's a freaking G leaguer that doesn't even belong in the contest. Don't even get me started on that.
The guy that did the slam dunk twice.
And jumped over Shaq because no one has ever done that before.
It was a white guy jumping over Shaq. You don't see that every day.
Yes, but how many people have jumped over
No,
Shaq
I know,
and
I'm
the slam
just
dunk
saying,
contest?
it was.
And
It
I'm
was-
just saying,
it was
come on.
Yeah, no.
Every single dunk JB did had meaning beyond flash.
Yeah.
Every single dunk he did had historical significance or personal significance. And he was there to deliver a message, and he did. And I still think he should have won because I don't think Max should have been even allowed to be in it.
Here's my biggest takeaway from that.
Yep.
While he may not have like nailed the dunks like he wanted to, he tried the deep brown thing, which was awesome.
Yep. He said the floor was slippery on that one.
Oh, did he? He said that really?
Yeah.
Because it was like a weird LED floor.
Yeah, he said the floor was slippery.
But my biggest thing to JB was the fact that he did it.
Exactly. And called out other players.
And the fact that the guy that met him in the finals is not even in the NBA.
Exactly.
Shows why the dunk contest has declined the way it has.
Exactly.
But just the fact that he did it and kind of brought some excitement back.
Exactly.
He might not have won it and been executed like he wanted to.
Right.
I give him credit for doing it.
100%. 100%. And his Terrence Clark tribute dunk, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. I mean, that one brought tears to my eye.
He was the kid from Boston
that JB was basically a mentor to.
Died before the draft. Yeah.
And JB was basically a mentor to him. And for anybody that wants to, just believe the Twitter headlines and the clickbait, he wasn't like using a dead guy for attention. They literally had a relationship.
Well, they didn't say it like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Really?
I never get into it with I never get into it with people on Twitter at all. Like I know there are a lot of stupid keyboard warriors and I just let things go. But I could not resist. I was like, you don't want
Swizzlers.
Oh, if I get mad, I'm like, I go off. And I was like,
I can just see you like get in the zone, like not paying attention to anything.
I was so mad. And I'm like, I found like old photos of them together and like, all of these things. Like, I was like, don't you say that he's just trying to like get likes. Like, this is someone who genuinely meant something to him. He wanted to honor someone that he, saw a future with and saw, potential, and he didn't want his name to be forgotten.
I got you.
And obviously he honored D Brown and he honored Dominique. And then he also made fun of everybody that says he doesn't have a left hand while also honoring Michael Jackson, who, by the way, is from the area.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
That's right. He's from Indiana.
Exactly.
From Gary, Indiana.
This is what I'm saying. Everything he does has meaning.
Well, he's a big activist and a lot of social change.
Oh, yeah. And just a nice guy.
And he's been like that too, like since he came into the league at like 19. It's impressive.
What, and I know we got to go, but the very last thing I'm going to say is just the evolution of the Jays, watching them grow up, watching them literally go from boys to men.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
teenagers because, And players come out when they're sophomores.
And like literally we're watching Tatum raise his child, and we all feel like Deuce is ours, poor kid, like has 7,000 parents.
Yeah. You see Bam Adebayo like holding it was cute.
It was very cute. Bam wants to be a Celtic so bad. Like, it. He wants to be a Celtic. But Deuce, is growing up in front of our eyes, but JT is growing up in front of our eyes and how he carries himself and how he talks. And all of that. And JB has always been an eloquent speaker and he's always been an activist, but just seeing again the maturity and the messages that he's delivering and how he's doing it. And also having meaning behind every dunk, but also calling out players and saying, get your shit together and do this.
Yeah.
Or they need to stop doing it because, G leaguers that are never going to make
allocated a good 20 minutes
for my rant.
Passionate JB. It's impressive.
You know my love for this team.
For sure.
So
you should have been a lawyer.
Join my parents in that belief. Like, trust me, this I have been told this since I was 5.
Yeah.
Like yes.
Well, anyways, thank you for that.
Now go watch the Celtics.
And thank you for showing up. Even in the
with my asthmatic
lessened
flair
state of your voice, you still found that brought the heat with your passionate rant there about JB. Like, I mean, you haven't missed a show, so I mean, that's
this is important.
Yeah. So
this is our baby.
Thank you once again for a good show.
And everybody
and all that
needs,
you do, and with the Drew helping that Drew piece get out.
I was going to say, and everybody needs to go check out the Drew piece because it is so good. You will not regret it.
Yeah.
And hopefully
I guarantee you, you'll learn something new.
Or
that you
100%.
Haven't heard about Drew's career in the piece.
100%
on my channel.
Absolutely. And we are gonna announce the winner of our giveaway after the show. So check out our Twitter.
Big shout out to my man Gio.
Absolutely.
Who makes his t-shirts.
Yep.
Are just top notch.
Yep.
I was so cool today to see the post.
Yes.
I forget how it was worded, but it was like
OBC is sponsoring.
Yes.
So Gio does like a not a montage, help me.
It's like a hype preview.
Of every game. And he gives the opportunity to have different businesses or shows or whatever sponsor the post. And so we got to do this one, and we'll have another one coming up in the future. But so check out his post because you'll see the OBC logo right on.
Well, he shows me love. I show him love too. I
absolutely
his t-shirt. So it's a win-win. Gio, when you see this, because I know he's gonna watch.
Oh, for sure.
Appreciate you.
Yes, and we will announce the winner shortly. So check out the Twitter page, and hopefully, we'll have your name being called.
We'll have another Mystery Patriot coming up soon.
For sure.
All right. Well, we've gone over.
And a mystery brewing.
Thank you to everybody, that joined in live in the chat. My man Drewski, Jazz, everyone else listening on replay. Thank you, Swizz.
We'll
be
Mikey.
Back next Wednesday at the normal time.
So we say
7:30 to 8:30 ish. Swizz may have another.
I may have another passionate rant. You don't know.
And I can't. Who am I to say no? Like if you got to get it out. So, anyways,
I mean, if it's important,
absolutely.
That's the character.
Yes. Give me a heads up too, so I can allocate the time now. That's a great thing about having your own stuff.
Exactly.
That's nothing against the radio station I was on before.
No,
but there was someone coming up after me. So
exactly.
You have to respect that.
Exactly. Exactly.
We go an hour and 12 minutes. No big deal.
Exactly.
So, anyways, great show. Thank you. Thank you to all the listeners listening in.
Hopefully, see
everyone viewing the Drew.
And hopefully, we'll see some of you at the Celtics Green Runs Deep view party this weekend.
And hopefully, we'll see them in the chat room.
For sure.
All right. Till next week, we will see you then. Thank you for watching. And thank you. I'm like so bad at this. Like, yeah. I don't know. Like,